welcome back friends to another Majora's Mask project video. Today we are up to our 9th mask. Now I have had a lot of requests. I'm really excited because you guys are really enjoying this project and I'm really enjoying this too. I know I say it in every single video, but I am pleased to announce that because of your comments, the 9th mask of the series is going to be the Deku Mask, or the Deku Scrub Mask. Now this one is the first mask you get in the game because you get it from the unalived Deku Scrub at the very beginning when Skull Kid takes everything away from you. So this is one of the important ones in the game and probably one of the ones that everyone sort of knows a lot more. So I was very excited to do this one, but I also put off doing it because I was nervous about messing it up basically. But I think I got to the point where the 9th one, we've done quite a few, I felt like this was the time to do it. I am really excited to get started on it. I am going to kind of follow the same process of the blast mask in the sense of using a balloon to blow up and get that rounded shape, but instead of normal paper mache like I did with the blast mask, I'm going to do the paper mache process that I did using the stone mask in the back there, how it's a little bit more textured, mainly because the Deku Mask is made of wood, we assume. His flesh is made of wood, so I kind of want to give it like a woody sort of like bumpy texture, so I'm going to use that one. Then of course I'm going to use some foam clay for the extra bits and bobs like the mouth and the eyes, and then I'll cut out some foam for the leaves and then paint everything. It's a big process. I'm looking forward to it, but at the same time I know I'm quite worried that I'll mess it up or things won't go right. So please bear with me, and yeah, I hope you enjoy. Without further ado, I'll let you get to the mask making.
Like the blast mask, I wanted to start by creating the paper mache to put on the balloon. Following the same recipe as the stone mask though, I grabbed some water, PVA glue, some corn flour, and then toilet paper, which broke up into little tiny pieces when I mixed together. I kind of just eyeballed it, about 2 parts of water to 1 part PVA glue, and then just put the sheets of toilet paper in as I needed it. Like I said in the last video, if it has the consistency of cottage cheese, you know you're doing it right. The next step was to blow up the balloon, and lucky for me, we had a few packages delivered recently, so I had a box perfect for the size of the balloon. I used it as a stand and also to catch any of the solution that dropped into it. Because I didn't want to directly layer the paper mache onto the balloon, I covered it in masking tape completely and then taped that to the box so it held when I put the paper mache on. I think there may have been a little too much water, but that was okay. You can put some more toilet paper in if you need, just to kind of balance it out. And I was just going through with tiny handfuls at a time and just patting it onto it. It does spread quite easily. You just have to be careful if it's a little bit watery because you don't want the paper mache to slide around. Once that was completely covered, I had an idea to add some more sheets of toilet paper just on top. Yes, the paper mache as it was a rough, rocky texture, but like I said, I wanted a wooden texture. So putting the extra toilet paper on top kind of smoothed it down, but also added little streaks that made it look kind of more like wood. This was a trust the process situation. If I didn't like this, I was just going to cover it all in foam clay. But once that was completely done, I made sure there was no gaps, and then I popped it outside to dry. The next day, it was all dry. It's always better to do this stuff on a hot day or a windy day because things like this and the foam clay dry super fast. But the rule of thumb is to give it about 24 hours to dry anyway. When I brought it inside, the next thing I had to do was pop the balloon and make sure that it retained its shape when it was done. I always pinch and snip near the very end of the balloon so it doesn't burst immediately, and I can kind of ease the air out of it with my hands anyway. Once that deflates, I use scissors to cut it off, and knowing from last time, the balloon stuck to the inside of the mask will also eventually peel. So I just grab my Stanley knife and cut some lines into it. So this has completely dried, and it has dried kind of textured because of the toilet paper. I'm kind of torn because I kind of want to keep it because, you know, a Deku scrub would have like a wood-like texture and it wouldn't exactly be smooth. So I think I might spray paint it, see how it looks with the texture, and then if I don't like it, I can cover it in foam clay. But yes, this is my Deku scrub so far. It's a bit big for my head, but I will put a mask in it, like behind it, like I did with the other one as well. Also, the masking tape and the balloons are currently fighting, so it's got this cool pattern going on inside. But yes, we will see how this ends up. And basically, after I paint it, I'll need to do the mouth and the, what's it called? The leaves. The leaves. So I'll go do that now. I'll go take it outside and paint it. The next thing to do was spray paint it. I just had a brown from the Squirts brand that I just got from Bunnings, and I took it outside into my trusty box and gave it a few coats of spray paint. I was going to go over it with other shades because the Deku scrub is a gradient, so I wasn't too worried about painting it more than twice. The next day, the paint was dry and it was time to start working on the gradients. I mixed up a light brown to add to the bottom of the mask, and at first it seemed way too bright. I painted a big patch on the bottom, and then I actually used my fingers to kind of smooth it out a little bit and remove any excess paint around the top, so it created more of a gradient. I then did the same with the top of the mask and black paint. The texture of the paper mache also made it easier to create a gradient. Throughout this entire mask process, I was very hesitant about every decision. I just didn't want to get it wrong, and for some reason, it just felt like I had a lot of pressure for this one. But I was pretty happy at this stage with how things were coming along. The next thing that I did was grab a pencil and start to sketch where exactly I wanted the spout of the Deku scrub, his mouth and nose, I guess, and where I would want to place the eyes. To make the spout, I just grabbed some aluminium foil, like always, rolled it up and shaped it to the size that I wanted. I was also using a 3D model on Model Resource as a little bit of a guide for the dimensions of the mask. Once I got the size and I was happy with it, I used my hot glue gun and just glued it onto the mask. It was a little long at first, so I just pressed in the top of the spout until it was the length that I desired. The next thing that I needed to do was start to put foam clay around. This would make it a little bit more cohesive with the texture of the base, at least when it dried, because it definitely doesn't look like it now. I definitely like this method because it makes this piece of the mask nice and stiff, so it wouldn't be flimsy and just kind of lean over at any point. I think you guys can tell that this is definitely my favorite method, but foil and foam clay seem to be one of the most versatile tools you could use for art projects. Once the mouthpiece was done, it was time to start shaping the eyes. I was following along with the 3D model, but once I started to place both eyes, they seemed a little bit too big, so I did just have to cut them down and fiddle with the placement a little bit until I was happy. I then popped the mask outside in the sun, and soon it was dry. This is later that night. As you can see, I changed my shirt because I was very warm. It was a very warm day, which was good for the mask, bad for me. And I started to paint. The most prominent features of the mask was the yellow on the eyes and the spout, so I put them in first, and then I started to go on the inside of the spout with black paint. I know some variations of this mask has the spout be hollow, so some people actually cut out the base of the spout so it goes all the way through. I didn't really want to do that because I thought of it more like a mouth. and the black just kind of made sense. I then started to go on top of the yellow of the eyes with some red paint and just try to mix those together for a little bit of a gradient. I think that was the hardest part. Like I said, this mask has a lot of gradients and it's not always the easiest to mix together. After a few tries, I eventually got it right, and then I moved on to painting the rest of the spout. The spout is also in the middle of the gradient of the base of the mask. That was a mouthful. So there were different shades of brown on the spout of the mask. I had to try and mix the yellow in as well, and then make sure it was cohesive with the shades of the base. I just mixed my brown paint with some black to darken it when needed. The mask was starting to take shape, and the last feature that I needed to do was the leaves. I just grabbed some 2mm foam and I started to cut out some leaf shapes. And just from experience, I know that this type of foam does need sealing before I start tackling it with paint. So I bent them a little bit to make sure that they were the shape of the leaves on the mask. And then I started to grab my PVA glue and seal them. As annoying as this is, it just makes painting a lot easier later on. And the plan was to do both sides and then leave it overnight to dry. Although I didn't end up painting the back of the leaves, I didn't want to leave them and just be the grey of the foam. So I made sure they had a base coat as well. And here are the leaves completely coated. It was the next day and the leaves were now dry, but it was time to add the mask base into the back of the mask and seal it up with foil and foam clay. Throughout this entire process, I was constantly checking that it was straight. I didn't want to put the mask on and for it to be wonky, so I was constantly pointing it at the camera and testing it up against my face to make sure that the mask base on the inside was working. The original lot of masking tape did help stick that together, and then I basically just shoved a whole bunch of foil down the sides and through the eyes so it was stuck in place. Then I just went over those foil parts with foam clay. I did something similar with the blast mask as well, and it is just to make it a little bit more tidy, but also make the mask itself a little bit more sturdy, as the paper mache itself was pretty thin, and also give me a place to put my face and make it wearable. This is what the foam clay looked like when I placed it all. Now, I didn't record this part, but I did spray paint the leaves green. I basically didn't record because it was raining heaps outside. I was working from home, I was on phones all day, and I just didn't end up getting that footage. But the next thing I did was to use my acrylic paint and just go over with some green shades to make it a bit more gradient. Then I left it in front of a fan to dry. Once it was dry, it was time to start adding some yellow features. Now, what the leaf looks like now, I was pretty happy with. But the more I worked on it, the more frustrated I got with it, and I just did not end up being happy with that pattern. I made the green parts of the leaf too wide, the yellow was a gross color, and so I got so frustrated, I painted it all green, and the next day started on the yellow sections again, which is what you guys just saw then, but I didn't record the breakdown. When those leaves were dry, it was time to stick them onto the mask itself, so I grabbed my hot glue gun and started to glue it onto the mask. I did realize very quickly that the leaves were a bit floppy. The side ones were okay because I glued them in 2 points on the leaves, the bottom and the side, but I added a pencil behind the top one just to keep it up straight. You can also use a skewer, I just don't have skewers and I have an excess amount of pencils. The last thing that I needed to do was put the elastic behind it. I felt like a surgeon when I did this, but I poked a hole through, grabbed some scissors and a needle and pulled them through and tied them up so the elastic was attached. And now that is the Deku Mask done. Please let me know if you like how it turned out. Feel free to subscribe if you want to follow along with the project, and let me know in the comments which mask you'll want to see next. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye bye!